It's me, Andrew. I'm here in Star Cottage Studio in lovely Ligonier, Pennsylvania. It's a little hard today, I won't lie. Cynthia and Azalea left this morning, and it's always a little sad when you say goodbye to your family. At least it is for me. And yeah, and then we had to pick up a vet from the vet. We picked up her cremains today, so it was a hard day, but we're here now, so that makes it a little bit better. All right, so one of the things that we've been talking about, and I don't know if you know this, but Cynthia is probably one of my best friends, and so we talk pretty much every day. And a couple of years ago, she asked me if I could make some fiber cards for her, for some cutouts for her crochet necklaces. And that idea of storing them in that way was based off of a Regency game called Whist. I guess there was a game where people would play with these game pieces, and the people who are playing them, the ladies, are like, "Ooh, let me use this for my own particular fiber arts." And this weekend, we found this really cool pin we found on the floor at the shop. And we are like, oh, that's cute how they did that. And then we started talking about this idea that we've been working on for a couple years now, off and on. And so we were finally able to do a drawing and get it cut out. Unfortunately, she had to leave today, so she couldn't hang out today and do it with us. But hopefully, you all will enjoy this. It's a fun kind of mixed media creation, and yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to show you how to assemble the pin. All right. So for today's project, we're going to use a little bit of hot glue. And William, can you make sure that this white extension cord is plugged in? Because I plugged in the hot glue and I was like, oh, well, I wonder why it's not hot and or getting hot. So
it is not plugged in.
So that's why. So we, yeah, if I seem a little bit discombobulated, that's why. We've had a little bit of a rough day. I always feel like once you have, it's kind of like I call it the after show blues, and you have all this excitement and all this energy, and then the day after, and then you get a little bit blue when that energy is all gone. We had a great day for our great beat extravaganza presentation, and it was fun to hang out with Cynthia while she did her presentation. So yeah, so if people like this, we've been talking about making more shapes for this project. So yeah. And if you missed our presentation, we did a presentation on Monday. We did a lot in it. We made a quick pair of Halloween inspired earrings. We did, and I got my dates wrong because I said, oh, we're not going to have time to do a Halloween, or the next one is going to be before Halloween, or not going to be before Halloween, but it actually is before Halloween. So, but you're going to get a head start. And also, if you're selling, you don't want to sell like the week of Halloween. So this way you kind of get a kickstart. But during the presentation, I took this toggle and added some decoupage to it. And really, we just scrape the surface of adding mixed media techniques to your metal components. This past year, I've been really invested and learning from some of the leading names in contemporary jewelry on how to add color and texture to metal. So I expect we'll see more alterations on surface treatments of metal. So Actually, in a couple weeks, a week and a half or so, I'm going to be down at Touchstone for a week. I know, a whole week. And I'm going to be there the whole time. So I don't know. Usually I drive in to save money, but I got a scholarship from the Acre Partners to attend, and they said that housing and food were included. So I'm going to be there a whole week. So that's in the beginning of August, and I'm going to be working with Tanya Crane and doing enameling. So I'm excited for that. Anyways, let's see. I see a couple people are watching. Let's see who's watching. Norma's watching. Hey, Norma. Kathy said, so sorry to hear, of your loss. Thank you, Kathy. We've been pretty sad, but we've been fortunate to have family and friends this past week, and it's kind of been a nice distraction. We've been hustling to get everything cleaned up at the house and get everything ready for their visits. So, there's not, when you're busy, you don't really have that much time to be sad, I guess. Norma says the Great Beat Extravaganza weekend was great. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it, Norma. So thank you so much for tuning in for that. We had a good time. We caught as many of the presentations as we could, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. There's a couple of things that we're going to talk about to help streamline it. I think everybody has been just like super overwhelmed and super busy this summer. So there was a couple hiccups, and we're going to try to iron all those out in our next meeting that we have amongst the presenters. But that's one of those things. This is a work in progress, and everybody's a volunteer. So I know there are a couple of people who are disappointed by some of the things, and I get it. You have expectations, and if those expectations aren't met, then it can be frustrating. But I hope overall everybody had a good time and that they were enabled to enjoy, 14 hours of free content, a little bit more. So yeah, I think that it's a great weekend to just hang out and be creative and get those inspirational juices flowing. Susan's watching. Hello, Susan. Molly's watching. Hey, Molly. Julie said, that sounds great, Andrew. Diane says, I guess it's hi. Susie says, hello, Andrew. Hi, Susie. Facebook user said, this weekend was so fun and I always learned so much. Me too. Even though I've known most of these people for many, many years, in some cases decades, we are always constantly coming up with new things and inspiring people or each other. And so I always enjoy it. So I look forward to it. It's a little bit stressful behind the scenes because there's a lot of moving parts. And we had family in town, so it was a little bit tricky to get everything rolling. William, is it me or is it smoky outside?
There was somebody burning something stinky earlier. Oh, it's our neighbors next door.
Okay, because I was like, I see smoke.
Yeah, no, it's not us.
I was like, oh, 1 moment, please, while I put out a fire. We were planning to do a bonfire while Azalea was here, but we were so exhausted last night. We were going to do an after party, and this is actually what we were going to do during the after party. But both of us, by the time we got home and ate something, we went for a short walk. We went down to Buttermilk Falls, near where William grew up. And we were thunderstruck tired. And then they had to get up early to be on the road today. So we didn't do the after party. We did watch a really cute movie based off of a Jane Austen book called Persuasion on Netflix, and that was charming. So yeah. All right. So Diane says, "Hi everyone. Going to have a lot of catch up watching to do. Having a great time in Minnesota. Lots of family visits. So that's good." Vicky says, "I thought it was amazing. Oh, I'm glad you thought it was good." Wendy says, "It was awesome." Oh, great. Julie says, "It was great." That's good. Good, good. I hate to say great after she just said great and then I said great. It sounds like I only know one word called great. Um, Molly says the presentations were great. I haven't had a chance to watch them all and had to watch on replay, but lots of good presentations. Yeah, the ones I caught were really good. So hopefully everybody enjoyed that. You know, the thing about this kind of thing is that we're all volunteers and all of us have things going on in our lives. So, um, it's one of those things where like Jill's moving and had to downsize and get a new studio, and a couple of the other presenters are shifting their businesses and closing their offices and doing different things. So there's a lot of moving parts that are behind the scenes, and it's hard to organize people in general. But when it's something that is completely volunteer based, it's a little bit tricky. But I think we did a good job, I'm not going to sell ourselves short. There's always room for improvement, but I think we did a good job. Um, and it was super great to spend time with my sister and niece and hang out while they do their presentation, because usually I'm watching it just like you all out there. All right, Christine Kramer says it was a great week. I learned a lot of new things I didn't know, and that's great. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, Christine. Robin said this weekend was so much fun. Thanks for all the companies and artists. Um, it's a lot of work, but we really enjoy it. Originally, when Sarah and I kind of came up with the idea, we thought it would be a one-time thing, and that it would be one time. And then we're on what, year two, William?
Yeah, I think fall's gonna be starting the third year they said.
Yeah, fall will be our third anniversary. I don't know how time works. It's like, how do you like? Is it the birthday, third birthday? I guess that'd be the third birthday. Or do you count?
A new section. We started in the fall, right?
Yeah, we started in fall of 2021.
2020.
I don't know.
And then we did it all last year in 2021, and then we're doing it this year. So once we hit fall again, we'll start the third full year of it.
Okay, so that'll start the full third year. William's telling me about how time works. Which I have a hard grasp on. So I'm like, yeah, we've been doing it forever, and it feels like it sometimes. But it's one of those things where we keep refining things and editing things and trying to streamline things and make it the best user experience possible. Within limitations, because we have a zero budget to do this. I don't know if you all know this, but there is no budget at all to do this weekend. And it takes a lot of time, energy, and resources to do it. So just, that's a little behind the scenes info about the TGBE. Molly says, did you like Persuasion? I've heard a lot of negative stuff from Jane Austen fanatics. I'm of the opinion that I kind of like more things and more options. And I feel like if you're so negative about certain things, then they stop. It's one of those things where if if you like it a little bit, it's worth supporting. And if you like absolutely hate it, then that's one thing. But I thought it was enjoyable. I laughed. I always loved that time period. Um, I also enjoyed that they were a little bit more inclusive with their casting choices. When I was growing up, there wasn't a whole lot of that available. So a lot of my life was spent kind of in translation, if that makes sense, where you're always kind of like, oh, I wonder what it would look like if the main character looked like me, or I wonder if the main character was gay or brown or whatever. So there are people who are like, wow, I think this should look like this and this. And then to that, I would say, I look forward to seeing what they do. Because, that's the thing is like, uh, it's a nice thing to have interpretations. And I say more interpretations are better than less, if that makes any sense. But I always love those costumes, and Azalea, she's really into costumes, especially of that time period. So she like recognized, because I guess in England and Great or the UK, they have like a collective um, uh, costume department where even if you're like the lowest budget film, you can still use this costume department, and the quality and look of your film or TV show or whatever is so much more because they have access to all these costumes. And she's like, oh, that dress was in this one and this one, and it was pretty cool because I wouldn't have known that. Barbara says, hi, Andrew and William. Yeah, William is behind the camera.
Hello.
He says hello. She says, how is your day? Always love the TGB. If you missed the beginning, I mentioned that it was a little bit of a hard one for me today, but we're plugging along and doing what we're doing. Facebook user says, it was my first time at TGBE. Wow, just wow. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. It's probably, we've done, we meet at least twice a month for the presenters. So we meet for a general meeting, but we also do some behind the scene things like we're really like kind of leaning into trend setting and helping each other out with different kind of information. So we started these other meetings to kind of do that kind of planning work also. So there's a lot of time that gets spent in the TGBE. So in some ways, for a lot of people, it's like 4 times a year, but for us, it's like we have 2 meetings a month and lots of conversations in between, and so it's a big thing that has grown into, at least for in my life, it's a pretty substantial thing that we were a part of in my life. So Teresa says joining in. Howdy, Teresa. Molly says, we appreciate all of the effort you all put into making this happen for us. So I'm glad you appreciate it and that you enjoy it. There came a point where we kind of had to sit down and talk about if we were going to keep doing it. And I think, and it was a really a good time to take stock and reevaluate things and really dig deep, and talk about how we can grow and grow in a very mindful way. Um, and so there are some things that you're gonna see more of, and that all are also gonna see some changes. But I think there'll be good changes. So, anyways, Barbara says I would really appreciate all of you taking time out for us. Well, we appreciate all of you. I mean, this started out as a way to help, and I think we're still helping. So that's why we still keep doing it. I think there are some things that, um, you know, they outlive their lifespan. And I think for us, it was a really good thing because we still see and hear people say that it helps them. So we're gonna keep doing it until we feel like it's run its course, and then either change with it or end it. But we're gonna keep doing it as long as people seem to enjoy it, and as long as it still helps. And that's like I hate to talk about some of that stuff because there are 14 of us and we all kind of work together, and sometimes what how I see things is very different from how somebody else in the group sees things. So I don't like to speak on behalf of those businesses because I know that we all have varying opinions and sometimes disagreements about things. But for the most part, all of us feel like as long as we're still helping and adding value to our audience, then we're going to keep doing it. But I think we're all at that kind of stage where if people don't watch, and if people don't enjoy it, and if people don't really want us to do this, then we won't. So, anyways. Norma says, even if it isn't something I personally would make or do, it's really interesting to learn new things. Yeah, I agree with that. There are a lot of techniques that, especially kind of mine, are a little bit off the cuff sometimes. Like I'm like, oh, you could try this and this and this, and then people who are not interested in at all in like mixed media jewelry, they're like clutch their pearls. But for me, I think it's good to know about things even if you don't personally do them, because it will it activates different ways of thinking about a similar concept, and that difference can inspire new ways of making. So I always think it's always enjoyable to explore those different thought processes and hopefully inspire some creativity. Christine says, I learned things I wasn't aware that I didn't know. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad that inspired. I think that, did the comments skip? I don't know. Teresa says, Silver Silk loves being with you. Oh, good. Well, we love Nile and Silver Silk, so that's good. Rosie said, good afternoon from Buena Park. Hello, Rosie. Molly says, I love that time period. I was curious as I have not watched it yet. Yeah, we were going to watch it earlier in the week, but decided not to. Cause we waited for Azalea because she was off. She left her blacksmithing thing, so I think that those are gifts for me.
She left them as gifts.
So I get all of the gifts. So thank you, Azalea. I appreciate it. I'm going to really enjoy the spoon and fork and snake hook. Thank you. Kim says, it was such a fun weekend for me. I appreciate all y'all so much. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's one of those things that we've heard a lot about, especially even though things are going back to normal, whatever that means. People are still kind of processing this world. And I don't want to say post-pandemic because that sounds like the pandemic is over. It's just not, it's not, but it's different. It's like, so I think people are still processing and working through that. So if this community can help at all to mitigate some of the hardship, then I think that's a good thing, right?
I think so.
But yeah, all right. Rosie says, I enjoyed the weekend. It was amazing. Well, thank you. Donna says, I love TGB. Oh, good. Molly says, hey, William.
Hello.
Susan said that she calls it late stage pandemic. Well, you don't know, right? It's hopefully late stage, right? Anyways, before I digress and the numbers keep dropping, let's flip this around and we'll get started with our projects. I think it's really fun. We've been talking about this for years, and then we found that little pin in the shop.
I said, let's do it.
And I was like, why wait?
That's a sign.
It's a sign. Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Now is the power. Ours is the
Power
power.
hour.
The hour of power with Andrew and William and Cynthia in spirit, because she did the design for this one. And I'd love to do a whole series of them. I think
so.
it will be so charming and super cute. You know, I've been calling you Suzanne, and I realized that I've been saying your name wrong for years. Because I heard Alex say it, and then I remembered you saying it as Suzanne. And it's a different way of saying it. So I apologize for butchering your name for years.
Oh my goodness.
And you never corrected me. So
Suzanne.
So there you go. Sorry about that.
No.
Molly said, unfortunately, we are up cases here in our area, and the husband works in a different county, and they are having to mask up. You know, I don't mind masks, actually. I actually like it because
he wears them all the time.
I get sick pretty easy. Ever since I got cancer, I just get sick really easy. So I don't mind it because I don't get sick. So I'm gonna keep wearing them. I was like, how come we don't do this all the time regular? Do you have to like enjoy my face 24/7? It's like I don't think people are like actively enjoying it. So at least not to that degree. And if that's the case, take a picture. You know, what's that?
Just watch us on video.
What's that thing that the kids used to say? Take a picture, it lasts longer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Not to snark it up too much. People like, ugh, generational trauma again. Suzanne said, no problem. Oh, good. Well, hopefully you're not like,
hopefully I'll remember
my
that
gosh. They finally got it right. How many years and how many times I had to talk? Molly says, we wear ours all the time as well, but our county is not mandatory masking and people are not masking. But in the county he works in that they are mandatory masking.
Everything's going to go back to that if we don't keep
trying. You know, I think it's a common sense thing. Like, you know, if you're outside and stuff and you're not directly breathing in somebody's mouth, then, you know, it's fine. And I think we all kind of risk things. At least I was thinking about this because we had company over for the first time really since the pandemic started. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, there's people and they're breathing on my cats. So I think it's a trade-off in some ways because if you have to be careful, definitely, but not to the point where it holds you back, I think. You know, does that make sense?
I think so.
We have
but
to.
I know you, so
about being judicious and, you know, using common sense and just doing your best
for everyone.
Yeah, because I would hate, and this is one of the reasons, because this, in my memories that came up today, we were talking about when we were planning to get married, and I had this huge idea of like a big reception, a big wedding, and we ended up getting this building instead, for one. And then number two, we didn't really have a reception. We went to dinner or lunch at our local restaurant, but you know, we didn't really
very close friends and family
that were able to come, and not all of our friends and family got to come. Like my parents didn't get to come, and not that they probably would, but that's a different story.
Generational trauma.
I know. I need a dumb. No. I was cracking them up every time I was I'd make a mistake. I would do that little dance for them, and now I did it for you too. Right. So I hope you enjoy.
Now it's on camera. I should have taken my face out so I can get the meme just for him,
just for me. That will be. It will go viral. All of 35 people will have seen it. So anyways, I think that's one of those things where you have to do your best and use your best judgment and common sense. It's like anything. Like if you just go, I think and I don't want to talk out of turn again, but in the gay community, a lot of people were a little bit more mindful because they had experienced the AIDS epidemic, which hasn't been solved, by the way,
Right.
even though there has been huge step forwards. Um, so I think a lot of people were just like more aware how bad things could get, so they were a little bit more cautious.
Some of them were. Some went on boat trips.
Well, that's like everybody. Yeah. So I don't want to speak out of turn by saying that, but I do think that has been one of the contributing factors of why I'm as careful as I am with certain things. And that's because I've seen people having to manage things their whole lives. And and even though they are living, good, productive lives and doing things and stuff, it's not all kittens and roses for them. So, and I saw how that negatively impacted their life, their whole life.
And
so
prejudices still.
Yeah, I mean, there was that guy from Queer Eye who didn't want to come out that he was HIV positive because he was afraid of how his fellow castmates would treat him. And that was like last year. So, anyways, here we are talking about stuff that's
pins.
not the little fiber fuzzy pins that we're making. So, anyways. So you might have to go delete, delete, delete in your mind. Or not, whatever. Oh, I hit that one again. My phone is like super sensitive today. Susan says, at a recent doctor checkup, our doctor advised to continue wearing masks, especially indoors. COVID cases are on the uptick. I think that that's like a common thing, especially in summer where there's a lot of gatherings and stuff. But anyways, Susie says, I love wearing a mask. It makes one a bit mysterious and people can't tell what you're thinking. Me too. I have a very expressive face most of the time, so it makes me get into less problems and be like, I'm trying not to like show my face the way that like I would do it if it is exasperated, but so I just like, if you school the top part and make this all the same, then this part can do whatever, right?
Just get the Botox up here.
No. Donna says, I wear mine. People seem to be pretty lackadaisical about it. It who knows? It's not, I hate to put my feelings and be
Well, I think if people don't have the mandates, a lot of people are just not going to do it.
Yeah. Or they're like, oh, it's just a cold. And then you're like, not for everybody, Right. So Kim says, when we took our masks off at school, kids were out sick constantly. I like the mask because I work with 4-year-old. Yeah.
I didn't get sick the whole time we were wearing masks.
Me neither.
Or allergies. My allergies were cut way down too.
You'll be like, why don't we do this all the time?
I know.
Like they do this in other places, like when it's cold or flu season. They're like, oh, we're just wear a mask.
Easy.
Susan says, I also like having to dispense with makeup since it's kind of pointless, at least foundation. Yeah, then your mask gets all dirty.
Like marks in your makeup.
Or on the mask, Sadly, fewer people here are wearing masks. Yeah, people aren't really wearing it as much here. And people who are just tuning in, I for the first time or haven't in a while, I do think that this, we have a project and we're definitely going to do it. But I also feel like community is important, and we both feel this way. And so usually at the beginning or the end of our conversations online, we'll start with just talking about how people's days are and go through some of that. And for some folks, this is the only time that they get to talk to somebody who's not related to them. So I know sometimes that can be frustrating when you're like, I just want to see the project. I don't want to hear your life story. I feel that way when I'm looking for a recipe, and then they're like, and then my grandmother entered the
Right.
goulash camp, and then you're like, oh, I just wanted to know how to make the pesto.
But we like hanging out
Um,
with you and talking and chatting.
Correct. And we almost didn't do a project today, to be honest. We almost did
Nothing.
nothing because it's been a hard day for us both. But Facebook user said sad that still goes on. Webby's designs. I think this is Webby's design. My husband and I both were diagnosed with COVID 2 weeks ago. We're pretty sure we got it on a trip at the airport. It has not been easy. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and we're all hoping that you have a speedy recovery and that there are any long-lasting side effects.
The thing with this is that so many people are saying it's just a cold, that when people do have it and are having a hard time with it, people are overlooking that, I think, now.
Or they're saying you're over-exaggerating.
Yeah, and for some people, it's really not just a cold.
Especially people I've seen where people have got it multiple times, and sometimes it doesn't. The second time is even worse. Like, you'd think that your body would get used to it, and they had completely different symptoms, and it was very detrimental to them. So.
And for some people, the symptoms are like a cold, but we also don't know the long-term effects of what this virus is doing.
So hopefully we all get superpowers. That'd be
right.
neat. Of course, I won't because I wear a mask. But try to make light of it. Susan says, with mask wearing, I can stick my tongue out at annoying people. You have to be careful though, because I did that too, and I didn't realize that my mask was kind of a light color, and then it made like a blob, and it spread out.
You had a wet spot.
Yeah, they're like,
you drooling in there.
What you doing? It wasn't on purpose, just so you know, or was it? Okay, Molly says, at the first, it freaked me out because I couldn't tell what people were doing with their lower face with masks, and it was kind of freaky. I think that's a common thing, and not to say that you're neurodivergent, but a lot of people, I read a lot of articles from people who are neurodivergent and saying that it was really hard for them because they already have a hard time with context clues. And this is not saying that all neurodivergent people have issues, but people on the autism spectrum, they were saying that it's hard enough on a normal day to say it's like be able to do it. And then one of our friends, she's deaf, so she said that it was super hard for her, and it still is hard for her because she just can't read their lips anymore. So that was kind of hard to hear about those stories. But even she said that she's glad that people at the time were doing it, because she says, I'd rather, my own kind of, it was her, she felt like it was her own little bit of sacrifice that she made for the wellness of the community. And so I was like, wow, that's like next level. You're gonna like ascend to angelhood or something. But yeah, she has a really cool business, by the way. It's where she helps interpreters place interpreters. What does Allie do? She helps place interpreters.
Place interpreters.
Yeah, so that they're even in all of the different, like if you have like a graduation or something, they have it so that somebody can use sign language to help people in the audience. So Suzanne says, not many people in New Orleans mask and our rate is sky high. Oh no. There's a lot of comments. Oh wow, Web. Hope you feel better soon, Molly says. Facebook user says Asian cultures always wear masks. I think that's a cool thing, Web Design says, I love wearing a mask because I can say things others get blamed. Oh, that's funny. Susan says, we're experiencing fewer colds and flus due to mask wearing. That's good. Molly says, ha ha, Web, good point. You'd be throwing your voice around.
Right.
Suzanne, same here, upriver. That's sad. Molly says, that's what fast forward is about on YouTube. Well, that's good. Yeah, if you don't like the talk, you can always skip over it. Facebook user says, I like chatting with you guys. You're awesome. Well, we like chatting with all of you, Facebook user. Susan says, my necklace from hell just decided it wanted me to finish it. Oh, good.
Get it done.
Yeah, or not,
Right? Whatever.
My feeling is if it doesn't flow, it doesn't flow. And so I'll put something aside.
Unless you have to do it.
Yeah. Then if I have to do it, that's a different case. Kim says, my husband and I got COVID before we could be vaccinated, and it was horrible and scary. I'm sorry to hear that. People, even if they got vaccinated, like our president has been vaccinated and all that, and has free health care and still got it. Susan says, I have one friend who says she has natural COVID immunity, so she doesn't need to mask or wear a vaccine. Well, not everyone is that fortunate. And the other thing, the flip side of that is just because you don't get sick doesn't mean you can't carry it. So, just so you know, friend, you may not get sick, but your grandpappy might, and he may admit that immunity may have skipped. So, anyways, people are like, is this the National Health Service or what? we making masks or something?
VHS, we don't have that here.
No, they don't. Donna says, I miss smiling at people, but hope my eyes are at least smiling at them. You notice that's like what Tyra Banks was saying. She told us. She foretold the importance of smiling with your eyes all those years ago. America's Next Top Model. Smile.
I think we all got more expressive with our eyebrows. Right? No creases, he says. No creases.
Robin says, I miss hugging and smiles, but it seems people came out of the pandemic mean. Maybe, some people like we were raised not to touch people, so it was really hard for me getting one of my friends is messaging me right now and it's about something I'm using, so I'm gonna try not to
break out laughing
because it's highly inappropriate. But anyways, I could see that. But also,
I think when you have something that really changes the world, people are going to come out of it in different ways. And some people have come out more loving and more giving, and some people have come out mean. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is.
I think for me, it was a good thing in some ways because it forced me to do my art and take it seriously. And in my artistic education, which prior to that, I had not been really very serious about it. So I always put that off and say, oh, well, I'll do that one day, someday. And I always put myself, I don't want to say put myself last, but I definitely put that down the priority list. So I think one thing that the pandemic has done, for one, it created the Great Beat Extravaganza. Without the pandemic, we wouldn't have done that.
Wouldn't know a lot of you out there now.
Correct. And also, it's forced me to look kind of introspectively. And I don't want to say I've been more selfish after this, but it's also let me know that I have value and worth. And that's, again, someone's like, oh, here he goes, generational trauma. But yeah, it's true.
Knocking over things.
Hot things.
Hot things.
The glue gun's like oozing out. But it's definitely made me think and evaluate my own life a little bit differently. And it's also imparted as I'm less afraid to ask for things now. I think a trauma response is to be, how do they call it? Something independent, like overly independent. So you don't ask for help. You don't, you're like, I'm going to do this totally myself.
Self-sufficient.
And that's a trauma response. That's a coping mechanism when you experience trauma in your life where you become so self-sufficient that you don't need anybody because you feel as though they'll disappoint you, or you'll disappoint them, or you're not worthy of help. So there's a lot of that's kind of messed up, you know. So one of the things that's happened with me is I've been more able to ask for help now than I was before, which I think is good. You know, maybe some people are like, I liked it better than before, but oh well. But speaking of that, needing help, we are working on a new business out in Johnstown, and we've got a GoFundMe set up to help offset some of the startup expenses. So if you've enjoyed any of these conversations or any of the free content that we've put out, we would appreciate, you know, a little help. So look for that link. You know, one of the people, they bought us a really beautiful card just to say hey, and that was super sweet. But I know how much that card cost, and if you just had put that towards the GoFundMe, that would have been a little, you know, we could actually use the money as opposed to.
Yeah, sometimes people think like $5 isn't anything, but it all helps.
That card was not $5, by the way. That card was $25. It was a cool card. It had moving parts and stuff, but still, cold hard cash is much appreciated. People are like, what is this selfish? How we doing? Anyways, I'm going to keep it PG, y'all. There's 35 of y'all watching, and I don't know how sensitive. I kind of want to have like an after hours thing where I can just say whatever I want. And then y'all be like, oh, a new reality. But then that would be terrible. Then nobody would watch these anymore. So no, I wouldn't say that. Some of you would watch. Some of you might like it more. Be like, oh, here goes the sass. Sass factor 5. Molly says, but not on your videos, LOL. Kathy says, do you guys and women think that no mask wearing reflects the attitudes of the leaders in the area?
That's a hard one.
I think for us it does, because there's people who were actively against.
But then there's us and our friends who all wear them still.
Yeah, so, or at least try. Molly says, yes, Kathy, in our area it definitely does. Diane says, smize. Oh, for your eyes.
Smile
eyes. Facebook user says, my name is Bonnie Francis, and I got better at cutting my own hair. Well, that's good.
A lot of people did, right?
Yeah, I do.
I don't, and I need to go get my hair cut.
Suzanne said, I've lost a few friends. That's sad. I guess they were never true friends, but it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
You know, I think it's one of those things where we are all kind of navigating these interpersonal relationships, and sometimes it's a challenge. It's a good thing that this project we're going to do is a fun and easy one, because we're like, let's bring it down a notch.
Getting very deep here.
I'll move over so William can
have some room. I'm on the.
He's riding the hump.
I am literally. There's a hump
we
in
have
the floor.
Because the schoolhouse portion, his brother redid the floors and they look great. But there is a little area where there's a little bit of a hump where they had to patch things. So usually my wheel is like this, grunt, 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 over it. But anyways, Susan says, I will post my necklace from hell necklace in the design challenge group tomorrow. I used the beautiful Laura Lunsford pendant and pearls I got from HE a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
Well, thank you for your support, as always. Kathy says, Molly, I thought so. Thanks. It really angers me when community leaders don't take their responsibility seriously. That could be a bigger and much more politically charged conversation than we probably want to get into today. Susan says, looking forward to getting the Surrealist Garden kit. Maybe because your last name is Surreal. But we were looking at some Surrealist artwork the other day, as one does, right? And one of the gardens was pretty much these colors. So I was like, whoa, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And then Susan says, I was part of a Surrealist Garden Facebook group a while ago, but I didn't think it's very active.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? I wish I could be like, yeah, that's your 15-year dedication kit, but
right.
There's a couple of those still left if you're interested. If you go to allegorygallery.com and go to the latest product section, there should be a couple more of the kits. I thought that they had almost sold out, and then William was like, you are tripping. And then I said, oh, I am tripping. So, and
there's at least less than half of them left.
I think there's like 6 left. So anyway, so that's not completely sold out, but it's near sold out.
If you've not seen the kit, check it out. It's pretty.
I was gonna hold it up,
and we're gonna have a creative make along too on Zoom with that.
Yeah, we've started doing those again, and started those, and those are fun. Lorraine says it was their way of sending you good wishes in that card. I agree. You know, that's sweet, but I like dollar bills as opposed to
when you're trying to build something.
Like someone's like, "Can I buy you a coffee?" And I was like, "I can buy my own coffee. I make it at my house.
We can talk together, and you can donate."
Yeah, well, just send me a Facebook message. I prefer that, anyways. Actually, don't send me messages, but email me because my thing gets overwhelmed. Facebook user, I think it's Bonnie Francis, says yes after happy hours. Yeah, we were gonna do an after hours last night, as I said earlier, but we were so tired. Robin says, "Oh heck yes, potty mouth after hour." Well, you know, it was funny because Azalea has a little bit of a potty mouth too.
I was surprised a little.
Why? You know who she comes from.
You know, I guess I grew up like we just did not say like until I left the house. I didn't swear in front of my mom.
Well, that's different.
It is different.
Yeah, because if I said something like that, my mouth would have got washed out. But also, I had a lot of generational trauma. So, what's worse, you know? I'm glad that she says what's on her mind, and she doesn't let people, you know,
change her
or try to tell her how to do.
That's good.
You know, there's so many people who that gets taken away. So I'm glad she still has that. Suzanne says she would watch. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll do it. Be like after hours, turn the light on and off like a club.
We'll have to start a new page for that.
Yeah, maybe.
Not associated with the Allegory Gallery.
We'll wear masks. Amanda says, me too, Bonnie. Kathy says, LOL. Amanda says, your Surrealist Garden set is stunning. Thank you. Diane says, is the Surrealist Garden going to be the next make-along, or do you have one scheduled before that? No, that's what that is. Part of why we haven't done a ton in August is because I'm going to be gone a lot of August. So I didn't want to schedule stuff, and if I knew I wasn't going to be around. But if I am around, we can always do an impromptu Zoom call with folks if people are interested. So that's always an option.
Yeah, let us know if you're interested.
It is harder on us because we do have a lot of responsibilities. And I know sometimes people are like, oh, wow, they just like sit around and talk about beads and that's all they do. And but it's actually not quite like that. So one person was like, it must be great to just make stuff all the time. And maybe in a couple of years I'll get to that point again. But lately my whole life is one long Zoom and email. So I don't get to spend as much time
constantly coming up with ideas to survive.
Basically. Molly says, must be the age. My daughters have a bit of a potty mouth these days, and they're 20 and 18. LOL. We were not really able to swear, but all the teens do it these days. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. But it is surprising if you are raised a certain way and the new wave does it differently. But I don't mind it. Then I can say things too. So in 25 years or so, it'll be normal for me to say things, right?
Right.
Donna says, I ate a lot of soap growing up. I was like, oh, that must have been nice eating a lot of soup. Me
I could
too.
go for some soup right now.
Not some soap though.
No
Sometimes I
cilantro
think
in that
about
soup.
it. You know, I'm like, I wonder what it would do. Robin says, do an after-hours Zoom with masks and a bunch may show up. You never know. It could be people could like it, or they could be like, what in the world?
Allegory Gallery after hours.
Diane says, I would be interested if you have the time. Oh, good. Yeah, we always try to make time for people if we can. Because I think it's important when they make time for us. So we try to extend.
And y'all do make a lot of time for us.
I know, it's been like 2 hours already.
We haven't even gotten to the project.
I know, people are like, oh, is he gonna land the plane? I'm interested in seeing this little sheet.
What's this wistful pin talk?
I know, they mean like it's more a wistful talk. Molly says, I don't mind it. It was kind of a weird the first time they each swore, but not a big deal. LOL. Yeah, it's one of those things where some people are real sensitive about it, though. Which I didn't realize people were as sensitive now about that. But I guess some people are really, they're like, well, I'm not going to say what they said.
They're not going to be taken seriously.
Oh, there's that, but they were like, women should not talk with that. I was like, getting itchy. I was like, or women can say whatever they want.
Right.
And then they're like, so that makes me not get invited to certain things. Facebook user, I'm guessing Bonnie says that's dark web stuff. I think dark web is more like stealing people's credit card information,
selling organs,
or like really going off into conspiracy theory time.
We're not that crazy.
Not yet. Anyway,
show them the pin.
I know. I was like, finally we reached the end.
We'll get there.
Just as Nancy tunes in. Howdy, Nancy.
Nancy knows when to tune in, right for the project.
Yes. She was like, if it says it's 2 hours.
It started an hour ago, I should be safe.
All right, here's our ceiling. I hope you enjoyed the view of our ceiling. This is one thing in my eyebrow.
Your eyebrow.
So here is our little work surface. I would recommend, if you're doing this, don't do this on a flammable surface, just because. But this is the pin that Cynthia made. It's the little sheep without any clothes on.
And it was so hard to get a picture of, y'all. It's on the website, but it's so hard to get a picture. Super cute. So this is acrylic. This is cut acrylic, and it's a little bit shiny. If you don't like it as shiny, I'm going to show you a trick in a second. But I'm not going to do this to all of them because I have other things to do in my life. So yeah. All right. So this is the little sheep. And then here are the fiber cards. You may recognize these when we do store tours. Sometimes we show these in the background.
we've taken these to shows sometimes, but one of the things is, for number one, I went to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, and I was like, I like this, I like this, I like this, but I don't actually do anything with these. So so I bought like one hank of this or one hank of that, which, if you know, you basically are getting enough to make like a hot pad. So it's not like you're getting, you know, enough to make a scarf or a sweater or whatever, unless it's going to be like a wild and crazy sweater. So yeah, so that's one reason of how these came to be born. The number two way is that sometimes you don't want to buy a whole skein of yarn. You just need a little bit for a pair of earrings, or to do a bracelet,
a wistful pin,
or a wistful pin. You don't need a whole thing of yarn to do that. So that's why we came up with these little collections. I hope you all like them. I know at one of the shows when we were in Wisconsin last, they sold out immediately. They loved them. And then I took them to another show, and I thought people would be over the moon with them. And one woman dropped it like it was hot. She was actively averse to them. So, you know, you never know. So, if you like these fiber cards, they are available, some of them, in the online store. That's allegorygallery.com. And I guess if you type in the search bar fiber, it should pop right up. Or are they in the new?
What?
Are the fiber cards under the new?
They are at the top of the website right now.
They're at the top of the website. So
made sure it was easy to find for today.
allegorygallery.com. And we're thinking of making new shapes. It just depends on how much time we have. We're actually going to Asheville pretty soon. We have a show down there, and I have an opening there's an art opening for one of my pieces in a group show in Tennessee. So we're going to try to go to that. And then I realized that I had to be back the next day for Touchstone. So we're going to have to wake up really early in the morning.
Or drive really late at night.
Or right after Tennessee, we're going to just hop on the road and drive back. So no extra cocktails for me in celebratory fashion. So they come in different colorways and different fiber thicknesses. And it's all kind of just luck of the draw, you know.
And we just have 3 samples here, but these are all about 3-meter strands of 4 different colors or 4 different styles.
Yeah. So let's make this a little interactive. Should we do A, B, or C?
A, B, or C, y'all. Hit it fast.
Vote it.
He's gonna choose
B,
soon.
or C.
Let him know.
A, B, or C. A, B,
Nancy
or
says,
C.
I love that little sheep. So cute.
Oh, I see. Donna
C's.
says B. Robin says C. Bonnie says C. Nancy says C. 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 C.
Oh,
C.
the bees are catching up.
Kim says C. Teresa says A.
I think the C one. Look at all those C's.
Diane says C. Norma says C. Facebook user could just be saying C over and over again, and I wouldn't know.
If it's separate people.
And if you want us to know who you are, you can always go to the description of our live, and there is a StreamYard link. And if you sign into it, it doesn't give us anything special, but it does show up who it is. And I will say that sometimes it will inconveniently sign you out.
Yeah.
So you'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to that live today," and then they'll do an update to their terms of service or whatever, and then you're like, "Oh, I have to sign in again." Damn, there I, you know. Anyways, so if you want us to know who you are, you can tell us, but if not, that's fine too. It looks like we're doing C, y'all.
Looks like C. The green. Everyone wants green today.
Now we're gonna do a little bit A B C D E F G H I.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No.
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 Okay, we'll do numbers then.
Don't get wild.
Don't get too wild. Hopefully I don't burn myself with the glue gun.
Don't do that either.
All right. So let's do 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I think
1,
2,
2, 3, or 4. Stop swaying it.
But I like this.
1, 2, 3, or 4. Vote it.
Colors. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Everyone.
1, 2. Facebook user. So 2.
Likes the woolly one too.
3 or 4.
I like the different colors. In this
Only one person's voting.
2.
2.
2. 2. 2. 2.
2.
2.
2. Everybody likes
Everyone
that
wants
2.
a woolly sheep.
Ah, Teresa, she's going to go against the grain. Donna's going to go against the grain.
1, 2. 2 looks like the most sheep-like.
Does it really have to look like a sheep?
Andrew's like, please don't everyone choose 2.
Well, you can. I like it too, but you can make it look whatever. Maybe they just got their hair cut, you know.
I like all the different colors in one.
All right. Here, remove this from the card, William. All right, so I'm gonna, while he's taking off just that little bit, here's my little sheep. We can have the sheep facing this way, or we can have the sheep facing this way.
What are we doing? 2?
2. So I think I'm gonna do it like this. So to prep the back, you have to do this on the back. Get this heavy grit sandpaper. You're like, oh, here you go with that heavy sandpaper again. And scuff up the back of this. You could actually scuff up the whole thing, and it actually makes it look delightful. But I have other things to do besides
scuffing today.
Yeah, so you're gonna scuff this up, and what this does is it provides a tooth for the glue to stick.
Oh, did I throw that on your work area?
And then get your paper towel with a little bit of that alcohol. And you'll see me do this all the time. And this is just the way that I clean off excess dust and debris and to prep my surface. And you can see it actually, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see it in real life. You can see the alcohol dissipate as it dries. And that makes it super nice to have as a surface, because you don't have to wait for it to dry. So let me get a little bit closer so you can see what that scuffing looks like. And if you wanted to, you could go over the whole side that you can see. I didn't do that. But if you wanted to, you definitely 100% could. It's up to you. You're in control.
You're in control.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the end of our yarn. And this looks super cute with eyelash yarn. And you can also get these pins. You have to make sure that you close this up. Close it up.
For the first few batches of these that we sell, we're including the pin with it.
Yeah, until we run out. And find the down and then figure out how you want to arrange that so that you can take this and the pin goes in. Because if you put this upside down, it will still work. It's just kind of annoying. So you'll put that down like that. What I do is I lay things out visually first before I do anything, and make sure that it actually works, as opposed to just gluing directly onto it and then it doesn't work, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the edge of my yarn. And if you need to, you can snip it if there's like, if there is like, this is like they've done it in like a curly Q. And I don't want a big long string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that up to the side. I'm going to get my hot glue gun, which has been prepping I'm going to put a dab of hot glue, and it's super hot. And you're going to want something, I've got these plier ends, and just compress it down into the hot glue. All right. And don't do what I just did because it's still super smoking hot. And then what you're going to do is, why I'm doing this, directly attaching this, is because we're going on top of this. So we're going to glob up the glue extra and get some on there too. And this is probably too hot. And I'm going to press this into it. And I'm going to be careful because this is still super duper hot. All right. And then what you do is you fold this, or you open this up for one. That's hot, y'all. Open that up and then go around your creature. All right. Oop.
Careful.
Slippery. All right. Then before I get going, I'm going to look at how this looks on the other side and kind of space things out if I need it. If I don't need it, then I'm going to go back over here and find a place where there isn't any glue. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of that glue in there. And then embed the end of the yarn in there. And you're going to have to really push it in there so that it makes a nice, so that it gets in there real nice and embedded. All right. And then once you give that a little bit of time to dry or cool, can you unplug the hot glue gun one?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And be sure, for safety purposes, have something where your glue can drip on. Once that cools, if you get a bunch of glue on that, just put it in the freezer and that pops right off. Or get a plate, a ceramic plate or a ceramic tile, and it will really just pop right off. I'm cleaning up the little glue boogers. And then once this has kind of cooled and is hard, I'm going to go in here and trim it off. And if I need to, I can always give my little creature a haircut. Like, there is this little piece that came off when I was embedding it. So I'm just going to trim that a little bit. And if it needs to be, you just smash it down and really get that in there. All right. And then come back on the other side. Close this up so you don't actually accidentally stab yourself. And then you kind of adjust this so that you can see the details. And there you go. Easy peasy. The little black sheep, or the little green sheep. Now, if you wanted to, you could put double-sided tape on here on the underneath part if you don't like this wobbling around.
It's so cute.
But I think that's charming. You could tease it up a little bit if you want it to be extra woolly. And if you want, I don't have scissors up here, but if you end up with a bunch of like stray hairs and stuff, you can just trim those down as well. What do y'all think? Do you like that?
Super cute.
And then you can wear it. Here, I'll put this on. Let's see what people are saying. And flip this around for me, William. First, you can't see it. There you go. There's my sheep pen.
So cute.
All right, let's see if I have any questions. Facebook user says, can you mix too? If you want to do that, you could definitely 100% do that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you want something really bulky, you can do the lighter or the less floofy colors underneath and then go back over. You can also twist them and then do it. So there's a lot of options of how to do this.
And if you don't glue it down, you can also change your pin often.
I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you want to do that and figure out the knots and stuff, mm-hmm. you could totally do that. I like the glue because I don't want to have like, you know, but that's up to you.
Sheep.
Yeah, like, you know, like when you pull the string out of a rug and it starts to come apart. Number 3 is a sheared sheep. That's what I was thinking. Suzanne says, one is nice too. I hope you like this one. This is, it does, even though this is fuzzy, it does show up less than if we picked a brighter color. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind as well. If you have a black base, if you have a dark yarn, it doesn't show up as well. So there you go. A little bit of color theory. If you really wanted this to pop, I would say use a brighter, lighter color. Helen says, surrealist sheep. Oh, hey, Helen. We miss you.
I know.
Helen was here. William added a bunch of links.
To all the places. It comes up a bunch for us, but they're in each of the different videos.
Oh, so there's not a bunch of links. Or maybe
there's 2 links. One for the fiber cards and one for the sheep.
Facebook user says, that's so cute. I've never seen anything like that before.
Isn't it?
Thanks. Facebook user, I'm guessing another person, but could be the same person. Cute on a jean jacket.
I know.
Move over, Candy Cooper.
Gotta get my jean jacket out now. I'm gonna have all the animals once we make them.
Don't hurt me, Candy. I thought it would look good with your other things too on your jean jackets, right? But you know, she's really doing a lot to bring the jean jacket like back and stuff. And I think it's kind of cool because then you can do the jeans, the denim is sturdy, so you can do all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna try to stand up straight so you can actually see it instead of like slouching over. Molly says, cute, that green looks like wool, because it is wool. Susan says, could put some real beads on the green fiber, red beads on the green fiber so it could be a holiday sheep. That's a clever idea.
Like some little ornament beads.
And if you didn't want to make this into a pin, you could definitely glue on a bail and make this a pendant. You could glue it directly onto a fancy card, since we were talking about fancy cards. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a pin back. If you want to use this for whatever, you could put a magnet on the back.
Yep.
And if you do a pin,
put it on your refrigerator.
Yeah, my mom, she had this thing I got her. I saved up so much money at the time. Do you all remember when they would do these like markets at the school for the school children?
I do.
And so I got her this sheep, and it was a magnet, and it was probably one of the cheapest things there, but like I saved up for it. And then so she embellished it by painting on top of it and made it look more fluffy. And then she wrote, "Holy sheep, you're eating again."
That's cute.
And that was cute. And that's currently and will probably forever be on her refrigerator. Norma says, so cute and easy. Yeah, I like easy projects. And you would think that hot glue is not very strong. And it's surprisingly sturdy. Now, if you're going to go and do what is that wrestling that they do where they throw the chairs at each other?
Oh, my goodness.
The WWE.
WWE.
E or F or whatever.
Anymore.
If you're going to do that kind of wrestling, maybe take the pin off.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to roll on the concrete, save the pin for after.
Yeah.
As a reward for your triumph.
Right. But right now, you can get these pins in the online store. We're giving pin backs as long as we have them. It's $8 for the sheep cutout and the pin back, and then $14 for any of the fiber cards. But
you end up with a lot.
You end up with a lot. But you also still can save 20%. TGBE20 is still valid until midnight tonight Eastern time.
One time when I was at a show, our neighbor was marrying Kasparian Maku Raku, and at the time she had like a lot of hair, and so she draped it over my head, and we took a picture of it, of how it looked.
With hair. And very long hair.
It looked a little bit different. And then someone's like, you need bangs. I'm like, thanks. That wasn't for serious, everybody.
Right.
Nancy says, heart eyes. I love him. Oh, good. And you know what? This is like it's the base. So if you wanted to go wild, if you wanted, we have a mutual friend who loves eyeballs. And if you want to glue eyeballs all over that, that's up to you, yo. You could do just like go wild with the eyeballs on top.
Go wild with anything you want. We just use the fiber cards.
Because we have them.
We have them, and it's a good combo.
Suzanne says heart. Susan says he's very cute. Excuse me. Kim says so cute. Diane says so cute. Nancy says so cute. No. Says got to bounce later. Helen says hi. Hi, Helen. When are you going to come back and visit?
I know.
We'll keep the light on. We actually won't because that uses electricity a lot. Diane says, I need a holy sheep you're eating again magnet to stay out of the fridge. I was like, correct, sheep.
Correct. I am eating again.
Holy sheep. Facebook user says, I'm going to get one for sure.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much.
They're on the homepage.
Yes. And we also launched a ton of kits.
Oh, a ton.
So make sure to check those out.
Some of them are selling out, so get them quick.
A bunch of Cynthia's have already sold out. Some of Kristen's have sold out. I think we might try to do a guest curated kit more often because I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Let people into our beads and see what they do with them.
I have to know them though.
Yeah.
There was a time when Kristen, she went over to my table and she picked something up and took it over to her table. And I was like, oh,
I don't know you.
We're gonna have to wrestle on the wood floor.
Now we know.
And then she sold out the kits, and I was like, oh, that's okay then. No, I wouldn't wrestle Kristen unless she wanted to, and then even then that would be weird. So, and I feel like that wouldn't be a good thing, you know. Maybe for charity, we'll do a mud wrestle charity, maybe.
Mud wrestle charity after COVID.
So we don't like drink each other's saliva. Yeah. People like delete.
And now the numbers drop.
Helen said, ASAP, I wish. Diane says, it was fun to see what other people made kits out of. Yeah. Diane has seen some of my beads.
The bead room.
She's been over to the cottage and seen that there's like a lot of stuff. So yeah. Anyways, go to the website, allegorygallery.com. It has the fixins for this pin, and we're going to do more shapes. But don't wait because we're not making a ton of these.
No.
Once they sell out, he's put a fixed number in. We're going to keep it limited. And somebody's like, why keep it limited? The reason why is I like to go to sleep and not think of all the things I'm not doing. So what we're going to do is we print it up a bunch. Once those sell out, we may do it again, but maybe not.
Right.
And that's,
we don't like to cut things and waste more acrylic and the wood and acrylic from the laser that we're going to not sell. So we make a few, and then we see if they sell. And if they sell, then maybe we'll make more. But if we don't
We're
make
not
them,
doing it print on demand.
yeah,
though.
if we don't make them, then it turns into print on demand. And then if the laser breaks down, then because it sometimes does, then we're stuck with orders that we can't make, and la 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 la, and then everyone's unhappy. So we want everyone to have happy little pins.
I know. I'm happy little Andrews.
Happy little Andrews.
Because then when people are like, where is my? And then I'm like, oh, it's a bee jaw. That's not a kidney. Anyways, so Diane says the bead room is amazing. I think it's pretty cool. It looks like a disaster.
Oh my goodness! Right.
There's stuff all over the floor, and I just cleaned. So I'm gonna have to spend.
But that's what happens when you have people in tearing things apart to make stuff.
Yeah, I was glad that they weren't afraid and tentative to ask to.
They just got into it.
Yeah, because sometimes we're like, can I touch this? Can I touch this? And it drives me crazy.
Just do it.
Yeah, just get in there and do it. Norma says, I got my prize kit today, and it's gorgeous. And so are Kristen's and Cynthia's kits that I bought. Wow, you got that on a rocket ship. Because when was that?
I don't know if you could have gotten. Maybe she's just saying that the kits look. Maybe I don't think you would have gotten Kristen's and Cynthia's yet, because I think today's the first day they could have gone out.
Well, maybe that's that.
I think.
Who knows? I don't know.
No, I know.
I don't know how fast.
Anyway, good. Thank you.
Good.
I know.
Anne says the fiber cards are also good to make fiber tassels that Kay showed during the GBE. So with your leftover fibers after you make your pin. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
Also, you can do all kinds of stuff. And I kind of want to do a part 2 of Kay's and show you some of my tricks. But I don't want her to get mad at me, so.
I wish we could all do that. Take part 2 of everyone else's, what they did, and see what everybody does. That would be a fun.
I did that one time. I don't know how well they liked it, though. Christy, she showed how to do this butterfly where you, jam a bunch of stuff in. And so my project earlier that weekend was a little book. And then so I took her little butterfly from her book, or for her project, and I glued it onto the top of my book. And then there was another thing that somebody did, it was stitched something or another. And then so I took their technique and then I incorporated it into my project. And it's because I want to get the gold star and the A+.
Oh, yeah. We mailed it Friday. So, hey, because Kristen was here earlier in the week. I'm losing track of days, y'all. I didn't even realize it was a new week today until late today.
Well, it was a hard day, so.
Yeah, it's been a hard day.
Anyways, we're going to go
and eat.
We're going to go eat and bring our daughter, Kat, back to see her brother, Paolo. And we have this piece of furniture in our house, which is basically an altar to our children's. And so she's going to be enshrined into the altar time. I'm kind of, once I get a little bit extra money, I'm going to have my friend do a painting of her, I think. Because that would be nice. Anyways, before we get into the emotional time.
I know.
Norma says, great idea, Anne. And that's about the fiber tassels. Norma also said,
mailed it Friday.
Oh, he already read that. And then Donna says, that's a great idea. Last week in July.
It is the last week of July.
I know. Boy, this week is going to be busy. We're going to North Carolina on Thursday. So we have to line that up. We're going to go to Tennessee, then drive straight back. I'm going to pre-pack for Tanya Crane's class. And if I forget something, it's not the end of the world because I don't live that far. So I can sneak out and be like, hey, I have to go to the bathroom for 2 hours.
Right.
And go out and do that. But, I'd like to just go. And I'm excited. This is going to be the first time that I've had, I'm going to try to catch up on all my work before I leave. LOL. And then that way I can just like go and just immerse into the whole experience of it and not be too distracted with work, you know, because we're juggling a lot of things. And I feel bad for William because he's going to have to pick up some of my slack, but oh well. Maybe he'll like having time by himself.
Yeah, because you're staying there, right?
Britannia Crane.
I keep forgetting that. You're going to be gone for like a week.
And then Harlan Butt, I'm going to be gone for another week. And then Andrew Quebec, I'll be gone for a long weekend. And then for...
all this gallivanting.
Then Sharon Massey, I'm going to be on for 1 day. Maybe 2 days. People are like, what's it?
So fancy.
What are you even doing with your life? I was like, summer is when I get. It's like I look forward to this all year long.
I get my pottery studio set up here and get some clay.
We have some clay. We just have to re-juice it up.
Juice it.
If people want to buy some paintings so I can afford to go on more of these, that would be great. I get to keep some of my painting money. So go buy some paintings, allegorygallery.com. I sold a painting to a collector in Texas 1 year, and that helped pay for a class. One of all of you out there bought a painting, and then I got to go.
One of you all out there bought 3.
I know, so thank you for that. All right, Facebook user says, what is the code for the TGBE? So this is the code for our shop only, and it ends tonight.
TGBE20.
Correct.
So use that in the online store. I don't think so.
We got rid of it.
TGBE20.
All right.
TGBE20.
Hey, do you
and anything over $100 gets shipped in the U.S. for free too.
They get prize too, don't they?
No, we didn't do that yet.
Oh, we didn't do that?
We're going to do that later, I think.
All right. People are ready to go, but I'm not ready.
I know, I'm ready to go. I need to eat.
Dude, I'm trying.
My blood sugar getting low.
Kind of slide in here gracefully.
I was going to eat at home, and then I realized what time it was.
So
showing
these earrings.
Turn the camera around. I can't see it like that.
We don't need to do that. This means we'll go soon. This is 2 earrings. Look at that, how that looks. Beautiful. That actually looks good. I might pierce my ear.
Get some clip-ons.
That's one of the projects. Is that kit sold out? I thought that kit's almost sold out.
What?
Yeah, Halloween time.
How many Halloween time kits we have?
This
the
is
Midsummer
the one.
Skeleton.
This is what was one of the samples. I think her name was Bedora. Was the name of that scarecrow.
There's one Midsummer Skull earrings kit left.
This is the other one.
Those came out really pretty.
That's a sample that we worked on. Here's another one that I worked on. I was thinking of my friend Kristen because she said she likes green.
I like green too.
And there's little bits of mica in it, so I don't know if you can see that or not. So it kind of looks like sparkly oatmeal.
There's only 3 Surrealist Garden Design Challenge kits left.
So if you didn't get one and you wanted one.
So thank you all out there who've been buying during this show.
Thank you. This is another one. This is the part of the skull, so you can see part of the eye. If you wanted to be more direct, you can also like put faces, you know, cut family mementos out, do this, but this technique works on metal. So you could get washers from the hardware store, like metal washers, and put the collage or the decoupage on that. If you wanted to, I make that into a pendant. You could make your own faux tin things. Now this one, because of the dimensional, the UV resin, there is a layer on here. So, and some of those layers are thicker than others, and I think you can play around with them. Like this, I made the layers a little bit thicker, and it gives it kind of like a 3-dimensional. So it looks almost like those white swirls are like floating on top. You can't really see it unless you like see it in real life. But with this one, we did it a little bit thinner, and that way it didn't have as much of a gloss, which is fine. And then this one, I sealed it with a different sealer. And it's more in line with the pendant. Also, you can kind of see the metal underneath the pendant too, or the paint. So that's something you can think about if you want to do that. But if you want to learn more about that and what we did to make those happen, you can check out our great bead extravaganza presentation, and we'll leave a link in the comments with that presentation. Or just scroll back. It was like yesterday. It's not that far. All right. See y'all.
See ya. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.